be carefree lately, yeah. Just kicking up daisies. Got one too many quarters in my pockets. Counting like the four-leaf clovers in my locket. Untied laces, yeah. Just tripping on daydreams. Got dirty little lullabies playing on repeat. Might as well just ride around the nursery and count sheep.
When it hurts like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I want to welcome you back to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. I happen to be the exceptional one, Ken McClinton, even on the most unexceptional, I think it's a word, nights. I have with me a very, very great friend, none other than Jeff Dunetz, the founder of The Lid. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a tremendous pleasure to have him on the air with us tonight. Listen, I want to give you an opportunity to talk about this very serious topic out of Finland. Burger King kissing on Ronald McDonald. This is probably the most important story of the day. Got to get your thoughts on that, sir.
Well, actually, it's the second most. But my thought is I am glad I keep kosher because I don't eat at either of those places. I rest my case.
Smart move. Smart move.
Okay. But you know what the most important story is?
Which is that?
CNN said it. Do you know where they did this whole peace deal today? But they weren't wearing masks. That was CNN's take on the whole story. No joke.
No joke.
That's afraid. I was afraid you were going to make me wear this for the show. And since Rosh Hashanah is coming up Friday, I have to wear it up here. But
no mask. The big story on the peace accord. No mask. There you go.
And they were close together. Now, from what I've been told, anybody who goes into the White House or near the president has to take a test.
Yes.
Which means they don't have it. But CNN showed they don't have it. They don't have, like, brains. They're like Dementia Joe.
You have the Prime Minister of Israel, the King of Iran,
the foreign ministers of UAE and Bahrain.
Bahrain, exactly.
Right.
And as well, the President of the United States, all there formally sitting to sign an agreement. And the biggest story for CNN is no mask.
Well, because Orange Man bad. Excuse me.
I want to ask
excuse me.
In regards to this, because I am one of those individuals who just so CNN drained at this point that I can't possibly see the vigor of a peace accord between three Muslim nations, potentially Saudi Arabia to follow, and Israel. Can you disseminate the information that's been missed by the left?
Okay, first of all, none of the mainstream media is really covering it. Okay? But yes, it was done for Israel, but Trump did it. It's part of his America First strategy. Because if you look at kind of the wars we've gotten involved in the last couple of decades, all in the Middle East. Okay? And if he can make peace in that area, can keep it calm, terrorism goes down, and the demand for American troops go down. So it's part of his America First strategy.
Exactly.
Okay? But what people don't understand, and what the mainstream media would never think of, is this didn't just happen. You know, the president just It didn't just call the UAE and say, hey, what are you doing in a couple of weeks? You want to come make peace? That wasn't it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's the result of a long, 3-year-long strategy. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember when January when they came out with the deal of the century? Okay, which was an Israeli-Palestinian peace plan.
Yeah.
But really, there were 2 results of that, and this is what Trump knew.
Mm-hmm.
Trump knew that the moderate Arab states were kind of getting tired of the Palestinians, that they refused to compromise, they refused to make peace. So there'd be 2 results of this plan. Either Palestinians would say, hey, that sounds nice, let's work together and make it a little better, and then we'll have peace. Or the Palestinians will do what they did do. They will not only reject the plan, they won't even get involved in developing it.
Yeah.
So those moderate Arab states that were getting cranky about the Palestinians got even crankier. Okay. And they had already been dealing with Israel behind the scenes, especially the Sunni-led states, mm-hmm. like the UAE and especially the Bahrain. You know, Bahrain is a mostly Shia country. You know, and the Iranians think that they're the head of all Islam, but especially the Shias.
Yes.
Bahrain's a Shia country that's ruled by Sunnis. The Iranians not happy with that. Okay. Yes. So this is how he set it up. He recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Yeah, Israel loved that. But what it did is it took the element of religion out of the of the picture, because Jerusalem is the third most important Muslim holy city. So now they're debating, now it's just land. It's not religion. Okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, the second thing he did was he made us energy independent. Bingo. Because no oil, producing country could say that they have economic leverage over us. Again, it was piling up the chits, And then he did something that was very out of the box. Every other administration would always go and try to negotiate with the Palestinians, getting Palestinians and Israel together.
Yes.
Okay, but the problem is Palestinians never wanted to make any concessions. Okay, so he looked at it differently. We're going to go for the lower hanging fruit. We're going to go for the countries that are already dealing with Israel behind the scenes. Let them get formally some sort of peace. Mm-hmm. And by getting that, it'll start a momentum. Okay, we had UAE, we had Bahrain. Chad, which already was dealing with Israel, is going to move their capital to Jerusalem. So it's starting to be steamrolled. And Trump says there'll be another 5 to 7.
Yes.
I hope so.
Yes.
But it's starting to steamroll, okay? And pretty soon, the Palestinians are going to be Shiite out of luck. Okay? Because everyone else will make peace, and they're on their own. Okay, yeah. So it was a very smart, long strategy. People don't look at this, but Trump actually looks at things long term, especially making deals. This is what Trump loves to do, and this is what he did. He set up the Palestinians. They could either make peace or they're going to be left behind. And you know what? The fact that UAE and Bahrain are already working with Israel companies, nothing makes peace like money.
Money. There you go.
Okay. UAE's largest bank announced today that for the last 2 weeks they've been working with Bank Leumi, which is Israel's largest bank, on programs. Okay, once they start making money off of each other, no one's going to want to stop making money.
Exactly.
So that's what's happening. It's the economy or as Carville once said, it's the economy, stupid.
There you go.
Okay, and as they start joining in, more and more companies start making money, more and more countries are going to want to join in on the fun.
Exactly.
So Trump's totally different way of looking at peace and his long-term setup of this made it all successful. And, you know, look, I don't know what order they're going to come, but Oman, you're going to have Morocco, which is already really dealing with Israel. You know, Saudi and Israel have been doing military stuff ever since the Iran deal. Because, you know, everyone says, oh, well, you know, Netanyahu didn't like the Iran deal. Well, he didn't. But you know what? All of the Sunni states didn't like the Iran deal because they're all scared of Iran. Okay? So you have that. You have, you know, some people saying Kuwait. I don't think so. But the big one is, you know, Saudi. When Saudi comes in, but I don't think they're going to, I mean, it's going to be a while before Saudi comes in.
Exactly.
But when they come in, you're going to know.
Yeah.
Because that's when.
Also, Saudi Arabia is having problems with China interfering in terms of relationships in the Middle East. Am I right about that?
China doing bad things? Nah.
Who would have thought?
I mean, I got to tell you something. I don't know if I'm going to have Chinese food on Christmas Day.
Oh, my goodness.
They're scaring me.
Oh, my goodness. That's a Jewish thing to do. Hey.
That's our Christmas tradition. But, you know, I mean, you'll have more and more of these countries. Sudan, they say, maybe Tunisia.
Exactly. Now, if you would, Jeff, very quickly, because a lot of people think that the PLO, the Palestinians, started their placement in isolation because of the state of Israel. But
no,
wasn't
it was Egypt.
Wasn't it started because the other Muslim country said, "No, not here. You can't come here."
Well, Gamal Nasser, the president of Egypt at the time, okay, he thought that if you keep them in these areas, there'll always be a thorn in the side of the Jewish state. And you know what? He was right.
He was right.
Okay, and yes, you know, first of all, out of the original Palestinian refugees, there's about 25,000 left. However, the only case in history, the UN counts them, their kids, their grandchildren, their second cousins 3 times removed, everybody. And again, it's all with the purpose of hurting Israel. So, yeah, your answer is yes, but they didn't do it really because they didn't want them there. They did it because they wanted to hurt Israel, except for Jordan.
Yes.
Because you got to understand something. Jordan is a Palestinian state, but the king is not a Palestinian. He's a Hashemite. So you get it's 60% Palestinians. So you get too many of them, he's in trouble. And let's face it, all they really want is to stay into power.
Exactly. Now, in query to you regarding Israel. Israel seems to have this addiction to giving up stuff, even when stuff is going in the right way, giving up land.
Not this time.
Exactly. This is what I want you to speak to.
This is a big deal. This isn't land for peace. It's, hey, let's make peace and let's make money.
Thank you.
Let's work together. It's not land for peace. And that's one of the things that Trump brought to it. The other thing is, do you remember what Trump's first trip as president was? He went to the Arab world and talked about terrorism and stopping it. Well, these are all the countries that want to stop it. So they all became good friends with Trump. And actually, out of all the countries in the Middle East that didn't have peace with Israel, the UAE, their king is the closest with Trump. And that's why they were first.
Wow.
Closer to Trump. And plus, their economy is based on technology, and a lot of Israel's economy is technology.
This is also what leftists have been saying about UAE, is that it's really not as Muslim a nation as all the other Muslim nations.
Oh, yes, it is.
So, because it's so modern and so illustrious in its monetary power, so they don't really count. And Bahrain is too small to count. Do you find that type of wizardry by the left when it comes to this particular narrative to be insulting?
Pelosi said that it was just a distraction from COVID.
Yes. Isn't that disgusting in a sense?
Yes.
That this man has done something that no president before him has ever been able to do, and the left just plays it off like it's a flea on the dog's butt side.
You've heard me say this before, but the Democratic Party is becoming anti-Israel and anti-Semitic. And the most anti-Semitic president we've had, at least since I was born, was Barack Obama.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So it's not something that the Democrats could do or could have done.
Or wanted to do. It is far better to keep the flames roaring in the Middle East.
Well, that, and again, they looked at it differently. They thought that you had to make the Palestinians happy, job one.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump's looked at it like, I don't care what anyone else did before. I want to make peace, job one. So that's the big difference. Trump isn't tied to, in everything, he's not tied to the way it's always been done.
Exactly. Listen.
And the interesting thing is that when Trump started developing this plan, John Kerry was telling Palestinian President Abbas, don't worry, he's going to be out of office in a year.
Exactly. Don't listen. Don't listen. He's not going to do it.
Snag.
I want to ask you here, because you're one of the great narrators of American history, and a very poignant voice on the conservative movement here. The whole idea in America right now is that Black Lives Matter and Antifa seem to have reign over the nation, at least in urban areas. They've gotten police departments defunded and dismantled. They have budget cuts in various cities, and money's being usurped and placed over in areas that's going to be wasted. But they're also burning places down all over the country. They seem to be a Marxist insurrection that has no water poured upon it to deflame it. I want to get your thoughts. How do we approach this election with all of that concern regarding Black Lives Matter and Antifa?
Well, Antifa is a terrorist group. No ifs, ands, or buts. I won't give you them the time of day. I happen to differentiate between Black Lives Matter and the Black Lives Matter organization. Mm-hmm. Okay? The Black Lives Matter organization can go, I think that's Italian. Okay?
For those following along at home.
But I think at times African Americans get screwed. I have too many friends that got stopped for driving while black. Mm-hmm. Too many good conservative Americans. Senator Tim Scott, he's gotten stopped a couple of times entering the Capitol, and he's got the senator pin. Okay, so I get that. But the organization is not trying to, this organization is trying to help themselves, not African Americans, not black people. And you know what? Who are they hurting the most? They're hurting the minority communities because that's what they're burning down.
Yeah.
They're burning down minority communities. So what are they doing? Okay. And when you say Black Lives Matter, and again, I don't mean the organization, what about black on black shooting? Okay. Too many people in too many minority neighborhoods are getting shot just for breathing.
Yeah.
Well, you've had experience with it, unfortunately.
Exactly.
But I think that, I think that people have to explain everything that Trump's, by treating the African American community just like everyone else. Trump's helped the African American community with jobs, with programs. Yes, the programs in minority neighborhoods that he put together with Tim Scott, things like that. Trump is not a racist.
No, he's not.
Okay, and that's the first thing they said. The second thing they said is he's an anti-Semite, which means he hates his grandchildren. But besides that, I have never heard anyone say that they've met with him and he's done any prejudice against anyone. Okay? Exactly. And if you look at his history, forget when he became it years ago. I mean, he sued Florida because they wouldn't let him admit blacks and Jews to his country club.
Wow.
Is that a racist thing?
Not a racist thing at all. You happen to be in the great city of New York.
Well,
home,
near it. You.
Home to William Willett. I believe that's better known in Gotham City as Mayor de Blasio.
Yes.
And this is not a question about him, but this is a question about your great passion for the New York Jets.
Oh, God.
Now, I'm not even watching sports anymore. I'm not even watching the NBA or in Major League Baseball, which really hurt me most, Major League Baseball, because I love watching baseball. And I'm not watching the NFL. I have no really interest in that. But I got to ask you, these guys taking the
suck.
Knee, yeah, they do.
Oh,
these guys taking the knee, these guys staying in the locker room, is how much longer can these nonprofit organizations or for-profit organizations known as sporting agencies stay afloat like this?
I have to tell you, I have a bigger problem with people taking knee than the people who are staying inside during the national anthem, because then they're not showing public disrespect.
Yeah.
And that's what the Jets in Buffalo did on Sunday. And then the Jets went into the toilet. Oh, God, did they suck. And you know what the worst thing was?
Yes.
One of my favorite reporters in the world is Matt Lee of the Associated Press, who covers Foggy Bottom, covers the State Department. Okay. Matt's from Buffalo. And just before the game started, I said, I tweeted him and I said, Matt, I hope no one on your team gets hurt, and I hope we kick your ass. Okay? And you know what the result was? Not only did the Bills kick the Jets' ass, but the Mets were playing Toronto. And do you know where Toronto's playing their home games? Because Toronto won't let them play baseball? Buffalo. Okay, so Buffalo got both my teams. If I had a tail, it would be firmly between my legs.
There you go. The financial situation. You're having sports leagues that are having virtually no audience in the stands, and there is a decrease of 40 to 50% of viewer watching of these particular organizations. Isn't this going to eventually hurt them to the point where they have to give up this foolish anti-patriotic expression?
It hurt them a few years ago when Colin Kaepernick started doing it, okay? And it hurt them bad. But then they stopped, and the ratings came back. Mm-hmm. So it's only been one game, 1 week. Let's see what happens. Because right now, the commissioner's all gung-ho on, everybody being able to express themselves. And you know what? It's not even their message. It's maybe because I do politics for work, is my job, and I am a political junkie. But when I put on football, I want to watch football.
Thank you.
I don't want politics. As far as pro basketball, I don't follow pro basketball. I'm a New York Knicks fan. Okay.
You poor man.
The last time they won, Willis Reed was still playing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And as long as the Dolans own that team, they're not going to do anything. Okay. The Islanders, hockey, were in the playoffs, but like the Canadians, who cares? And now, I mean, and I think I've told you this before, but I think that the New York Jets prove that God has a sense of humor. Because whenever they're in a big game, they're leading in the third quarter, and then boom, they blow it. Okay, I think that's God having a laugh at New York Jets fans' expense.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
By the way,
yes.
Do you know that Election Day is our 4-year anniversary?
Really?
I met you. The first time I ever met you was when we did Election Day 4 years ago.
And guess what you'll be doing again this year?
I'm doing Election Day with you.
That's right. You're going to be doing Election Day coverage. You'll be here. Dave Milner will be here. Bonnie Williams will be here. Don't give her too much credit because her head is really filled with the fact that she did such a great job the last time. But we will be doing election coverage from 6 in the afternoon.
And God willing, we'll have the same result.
To midnight. Oh, we definitely will. And then next day, the Democrats will print up as many votes as they need to win. That's just the way it works. That's just the way it works. But I'm not expecting to say President Pelosi. Not at all.
Just because it's our anniversary, don't expect the Burger King McDonald's thing. Okay?
I feel the love. Ladies and gentlemen.
But homie, no play that game.
Homie, don't play that. But Dave, we love you, man. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. And
thank you.
You coming back a little bit more often.
And if I can just say one more thing.
Sure.
To anybody listening, Jewish or not, on Rosh Hashanah, we pray that God puts us in the book of long life and good health. Whether you're Jewish or not, I pray that everybody here is put in the book of a long life, a good health, and love of family, of friends.
Amen. And we want to also extend in this particular moment our prayers and concerns regarding the health and well-being of Raynard Teddy Bear Jackson. He has not had the opportunity of coming on the air and talking about this, but unfortunately he is fighting a battle for his very life and will be going into surgery this week. And we're hoping, with all hope, good news that comes from it.
And prayer works, so everybody pray for him.
Would you just tonight, all through the week, continue to pray for him. He's fighting a mighty battle at this particular moment. I'm going to see if I can get him to come on in a few weeks and tell you all about it. Jeff, you're just awesome. I love you, brother.
So are you, man.
And
I love you, bro.
Talk to you very soon.
You got it.
you know, my writing isn't as great as your stuff. I mean, you come out with this stuff about the Palestinians. I did something about HUD's counseling service. You know that I need to up my game.
Well, speaking of HUD, I did something about that bill where they want to put low-income housing in all the middle-class suburbs.
Yes.
That's another thing that Biden wanted that Trump killed.
Exactly.
Oh, did I mention that Biden in an interview didn't know that North Korea had nukes? No, I'm not joking.
Okay, wait a minute. Are you serious? The point man for China was Joe Biden, and he didn't know that.
Yeah, but he was too busy making money for his son. But no, he when he did his speech ripping Trump earlier in this week, and he said he knows nothing about foreign relations. He said, you know, he doesn't even know that North Korea is close to a nuclear weapon. North Korea fired a nuclear weapon first in 2006. They fired 5 when he was vice president. I feel bad for the guy. I really do in a way, because I've had 3 family members die of dementia.
Yeah. And I'm going to run out of time, but I got to ask you this. Jill Biden, his wife, not a medical doctor, but certainly someone that you got to ask, if you are a spouse and you're watching what happens. Let me just play this for you.
Candidate for president in this race is walking off the plane, arriving in Florida just moments ago. Former Vice President Joe Biden. He's there to try to.
Is that Mr. Wait a second. Is that Mr. Trump hates gold?
Cuban Americans.
Is that Mr. Trump hates? That's Mr. Trump hates global warming coming off a private plane.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. He's coming off a private plane, and even worse. He's waving to nobody.
Do you know what? The one question people want to know, should be asking themselves, do they want someone whose finger is on the button, who they first have to explain to him what a button is?
You know, we're laughing. This is very...
The guy's losing it.
Yeah, this is very, very humorous to many of us. But in all sincerity, that's dementia. Why would you do this?
My dad just before the last election passed away from that. Okay. However, the last thing he did just before he passed away, it was a week before the election. He lives in Florida. Is he voted early for Trump? Okay. So he had some of it left. My father was a good man. He should rest in peace. But I feel bad that's why I feel bad for him. And I can't believe how his wife lets him out in public.
Exactly.
To be embarrassed.
I just want to clarify something for you all who were thinking I was laughing at what Jeff was saying. I wasn't. I was thinking of the fact of this joke that came to mind, that Joe was going to do the very same thing that Jeff's father did. He's going to vote early for...
Vote for Trump? He's welcome to.
I hope he does. Ladies and gentlemen, my very good friend Jeff Dunetz, God bless you. We're going to have you back well before
God bless you.
Election season, talk about many things as we go along. God bless you.
Super.
Talk soon.
Be well, friend.
Ladies and gentlemen, my great friend Jeff Dunetz, we had a wonderful conversation this evening with Rick Ector. The party just doesn't seem to want to stop. But I have to. I've come to that particular end of my show, and I have to do this right here. I have to point back to the fact that this flag flies around the world, and it represents our love for God. God who blessed America. Now it's time for America to bless God. If you don't remember anything else, remember that. We will be back tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. Janice will be with us, and we will be talking about foreign policy issues as they come up. Please keep Raynard Teddy Bear Jackson in your prayers. Mary Brockman, muchas gracias to you. Thank you so much for being with us. Also, Dave Milner, my man, thank you so much for being here tonight. Mrs. Mrs. Biggs, I'm losing it. Muchas gracias to you. Listen, love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, Wednesday night on the Exceptional Conservative Show. God bless.